What is going on, guys? My name is Jericho, and welcome to The Division, a game where I have no idea whether or not I'm going to quit it in a week, a month, or never play another game again. This game has a lot to offer and a lot of issues, in my opinion, and I wanted to talk about some because now the game has been out for plenty of time, and I feel like it's given us enough, gameplay as well as some time in-game to really assess how we feel about this game. I can't give it a full review yet, but I can definitely talk about some things that are glaring issues as well as things that I'd like to improve in the game. And this game is incredibly fun for me. I don't know what it is about the game in general, but I have been using a lot of my spare time just to play the side missions in this game off stream. In fact, this is a video that's made from clips that I streamed the game late in the middle of the night with no camera or face cam, or no audio. It's just the gameplay because I wanted to do some side missions. I couldn't sleep. I don't know. And I want to talk, a lot of people are really highlighting the best parts and the worst parts of this game. I feel like it's split the internet down the middle in terms of who likes it and who doesn't. And I just want to give you my opinion from somebody who's not necessarily fitting or throwing themselves into a specific genre of gamer. You know, I like to play quite a few games. Shooters are my favorite, and this game at heart is a shooter. Let's just get that out of the way. It's not an MMO that has shooting, it's a shooter that has MMO parts, okay? Let's get that one out of there. A lot of people talking about that. So, what are my issues that I have with the game? There's not a ton of glaring issues, in my opinion, that are gonna prevent somebody from enjoying the game. A lot of the issues that I have come from the lack of depth in the content, as well as the lack of customization and creation that you have control over. I was pretty disappointed. I wasn't really disappointed. I was pretty disappointed with the amount of customization you can do off the start. There's enough, but for a game where you literally spend the entire time looking at your character's back and or face when you're in the menu, it's weird to me that you would make a game that has so few customization options. I mean, we're not going so far as to say it's H1Z1 where you pick one of three people, and that's your character. But it's certainly not anywhere near Destiny's level of customization, and we'd be lying to ourselves if we said Destiny had great customization. It's good, it's adequate. This game is below adequate. It kind of annoyed me, and I understand that the gear you wear is supposed to set you apart from other players. That said, I'm still a little bit hesitant to say I'm happy with the customization in this game. You know, end game content aside, there's not a lot of variation of beginning content and how you look. Most people look generally the same. You look like you're in a war-torn area. Like, that's fine. But, you know, I'm the brightest looking player on the block right now, and this is with gear that I had to spend hours, trying to find, and or gear that I got from the beta pre-order. So, I'm not sure entirely that the customization aspect of this that everybody was praying this game's an MMO or whatever they wanted to think it is worthy of is worthy of praise. The game's customization really leaves a lot to be desired. And again, like I said, you should not be buying this game based off of its customization. This is not, this is not Blade and Soul or whatever MMO that you've got that you have an insane amount of creation control. It's not Ark. You don't customize your facial structure, you choose a hair type and that's that pretty much. So I wish that could be expanded a bit. Now let's move from that into a little bit more general terms of lack of depth of content. It really annoys me. I'm gonna play a clip right here. All right, this is from one Protect the Area mission. These are sound bites, okay, from the game.
It's an honor to fight with you.
Hit him hard and we'll run. Put him back behind bars. Hit him hard and
Warning.
we'll run.
Hostile forces approaching.
Put him back behind bars. Riot's not wanted here. Put him back behind bars.
It's an honor to fight with you.
Put him back behind bars. Put him back behind bars. Hit him hard and they'll run.
It's an honor to fight with you.
Area secured. Hostiles neutralized.
So what that is this is your NPCs hanging out, being friendly, talking to you during your mission for 2.5 minutes, literally repeating the same phrases over and over again. Not in weird circumstances. Like, I don't get how many times I need to hear, "It's a pleasure fighting with you," or, "Send them back to jail!" Like, all of these shouts, all of these vocal, claims that the NPCs are making really cause you to lose any immersion that you would even remotely have. Like, it repeats itself so much, it's like a broken record. It's really noticeable, and it's kind of annoying to the point that by the end of that mission, I was laughing myself. I'm like, this is the most obnoxious shit ever. Like, you couldn't spend 20 more minutes. I watched Sonya record grunting lines that had more variation than that for H1Z1. I'm saying that that's a big issue that, you know, regardless of whether or not you think there's, you know, a reason to have a ton of variation in sayings for NPCs, you can't have that much repetition in 2 minutes. You can't. It's just bad. And you know, it takes away from how good this game is overall. It really does. It seems like cheap. It seems like I'm sitting in a luxury vehicle, like the game looks great, this car looks great, the game feels great, this Mercedes feels great, and then I'm sitting in there and the car actually only has 2 radio stations and no power seats or power windows. You're just like, why the fuck did you put all this leather and detail into the game and then you skimp out on some of the most commonly easy things to create, voice lines? So now that we got that out of the way, the missions and the enemy type, I feel like they need some variation, man. I like and appreciate the missions do not feel forced. They do not feel like, you know, I'm doing something at random. I feel like each mission has some sort of goal, and I feel like I'm contributing to the overall arcing story of, you know, bettering this New York City quarantine zone. But they're all, at heart, they're all defend this area. There's, you know, or rescue this hostage. And even then, it's not even like, rescue this hostage, it's just shoot 5 people around the hostage and unlock a door. Why are you guys so bad at getting, like, everybody gets kidnapped here apparently, I get it, but it's just, there's not a lot of variation in the missions, and although I will say that, I don't feel like it's stale because the environments you do these missions in do change enough. So, now that we've got that out of the way, let's move forward to the characters and the enemies. There's not a ton of different types of enemies. I mean, off the top of my head, you've got the guy with a melee weapon / a shield that's gonna rush you and try and beat you to death with a baseball bat. You've got a sniper who's gonna sit in the back and shoot at you. You've got those standard mid-range, you know, characters like this guy or the, you know, the purifiers. All these people have, you know, mid-range, close-range weapons. That's about it. And then maybe if you get towards higher tier enemies, you have enemies that can use technology to drop a turret or something. I really feel like you need to do something more about here. They all wear the same clothes. They kind of have the same mannerisms. Once you played enough, you can really circumvent any difficulty you have with a large amount of enemies by just recognizing this play style of each individual type and playing to it, because there's not enough types of enemies with enough variation to punish you for memorizing exactly how this guy's gonna run at me and what the best method of taking him down is. You know, there's not enough depth in the amount of enemies. So I think that again, is not something that's glaringly bad right now. It's just stuff that I really wish, I just feel like they did a ton of work on the engine and the game and the way the game looks and the game type, if we're gonna throw it into a genre somehow, some weird MMO hybrid shooter. And I think the crazy thing is that none of those issues are so bad that it's even gonna remotely deter me from playing the game. It just might shorten the game's lifespan for me, because at heart, I've had a ton of fucking fun right now, right? So, with that said, the biggest issue that I have with the game is I don't know if I'm going to be able to play it for a long time, because the game sits somewhere in between very grindy and not grindy enough. You might be like, that seems perfect though, right? That seems No, it's not. Here's why. I feel like this game is too grindy for casual players. I feel like you will get deterred from playing the game or going in the dark zone or doing any sort of missions, etc., because you are not comfortable with spending that much time in game. You don't have 5 hours a week. You have 1 hour a week, and you want to hop on, play some video games, run around, do some shit, and that's that. I feel like that in order to get to the fun part of the game, you gotta push through about 10 hours of boring content to start feeling like you've made progress into the meat of it. You're not just eating the crust of the pie now. Now you're getting into that filling. You got that purple weapon, etc., etc. They're not all greens and blues. That's a dangerous thing because the core player base is always going to be on the casual side. I mean, this is not World of Warcraft. We're not gonna kid ourselves here, okay? This is This is not a game that's going to pander to the top tier individual that's going to sink their life away into it. It's not. And then at the other end of the spectrum, for people like me who want to sink hours into a game, there's not enough content to do that. In fact, I am about, maybe 20 hours into the game, right? I've played the beta a lot. I'm 20 hours into the game of the release, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm done most of the missions and side missions and encounters on the left entire side of the map. There's an entire right side, but at no point did I ever, and I could have powered through, I could be on the right side of the map powering through the higher level stories already, but I'm choosing to go through and complete the whole side before I advance. It's just like, there's not enough content there for me to know life, but there's certainly too much content there for you to be a casual player on this game. So it's weird to me because I don't know where the game's gonna stand in a month. It could die. It might not die, and it might be the best thing in the fucking world. They are going to release a ton of content, but that scares me. Now, I do have one last thing to say before I finish this ramble. The game is awesome. It really, really is. I'm having a ton of fun, and it will absolutely be a top game for me to stream. But it's very clear as well that they wanted you to have the ability to do missions out of order and side missions when the side missions are pretty pivotal to the storyline. As a consequence, I beat some of the higher missions in the story, and then I'm going back and playing the lower side missions, and the tone of the game went from a very serious issue, a very, deep narrative of who could be to blame for all this stuff, to some characters that are just downright silly. You know, a guy who's got the flu, who's just obsessed with sanitization, and this chick who's super patronizing. It's like, oh, honey, we need you to rescue some hostages. You think I'm joking? Play some of the side missions. Like, who decided that there would be a good person that would sound like that? I don't get it. So, you gotta play the side missions in order to, and there's not a big enough level gap between the main missions to incentivize you to do so. So I feel like I missed out on a big portion of the story just by, I don't know, playing the game a lot. So anyways, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Stay tuned for more Division content for sure. I'm gonna be jumping in the Dark Zone soon with some friends, so hopefully that'll be fun. I do not wish to deter you guys from buying the game / tell you that it's not, like, enjoyable. I just definitely need to outline my qualms with it, my issues, because there's a lot of stuff that I'm hoping it's early enough in the cycle for Ubisoft to make some changes based off of feedback. But otherwise, really enjoying the game. Really happy that they created this, and I'm glad that it's as fun as I had hoped it would be. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you all later.